The 1980s were more than big hair, neon lights, and arcade machines. They were the decade when Hollywood dared to dream of the impossible. It was an era when filmmakers peered into the unknown, imagining futures filled with sentient machines, virtual worlds, flying cars, and cities so sprawling they seemed alive. To audiences back then, these visions were wild fantasies. But today, we're living in many of those imagined tomorrows. Artificial intelligence doesn't just answer questions. It writes books, paints portraits, and holds conversations indistinguishable from human speech. Electric cars glide silently down highways, guided by algorithms that make split-second decisions more accurate than any driver. Entire universes exist inside virtual reality headsets, where people work, socialize, and even fall in love. In the 80s, this was science fiction. Now, it's our morning commute, our evening entertainment, our entire lives. Most people remember Blade Runner or Back to the Future for predicting these realities, but hidden beneath the pop culture giants were films that have been quietly forgotten, underappreciated masterpieces and cult curiosities that not only predicted the future, but did so with startling precision. Their visions of AI, surveillance, virtual reality, and bioengineering were so accurate, it feels like their creators traveled through time and took notes. This is Vintaverse, where nostalgia meets prophecy. And today, we're diving into 10 forgotten 80s sci-fi movies that predicted the future accurately. Films that didn't just imagine tomorrow, they practically built it. Number 10. Brazil, 1985. Terry Gilliam's Brazil isn't just a film, it's a fever dream wrapped in ductwork and bureaucracy. Released in 1985, this dystopian satire painted a future where technology was everywhere, but freedom was nowhere. The story follows Sam Lowry, a meek government worker lost in an endless sea of paperwork and malfunctioning machines, desperately searching for a woman he sees in his dreams. But the world he inhabits, it's suffocating, ruled by faceless corporations and government departments so bloated and inefficient, they've forgotten their purpose. Back then, audiences laughed nervously at the absurdity. Mountains of forms, machines that never quite worked, surveillance cameras on every corner. But watching Brazil today feels eerily familiar, almost prophetic. Gilliam's chaotic vision foreshadowed the rise of digital bureaucracy we live with now. The movie's endless pipes and tangled wires are now mirrored by sprawling data centers and cloud networks that control our daily routines. Perhaps the film's most chilling prediction is its casual acceptance of surveillance. In Brazil, the omnipresence of cameras isn't questioned, it's normalized. Fast forward to recent times, and we willingly carry surveillance devices in our pockets. Social credit systems in parts of the world, mass data collection, and facial recognition in public spaces make Gilliam's nightmare eerily close to reality. Even the film's aesthetics, the retro-futuristic design of bulky screens, analog meets digital interfaces, and cramped cubicles feel startlingly relevant. Silicon Valley startups and cyberpunk-inspired designers often cite Brazil's production design as an influence. In a world where AI assistants mishear commands and self-checkout machines malfunction daily, the satire hits even harder. Technology isn't just omnipresent, it's imperfect, indifferent, and deeply human in its flaws. Brazil may have been labeled surreal in 1985, but in hindsight, it's less satire and more documentary. It saw the world we were building and warned us long before we were ready to listen. Number 9. Back to the Future Part 2, 1989. Few sequels dared to outshine their originals, but Back to the Future Part 2 didn't just continue Marty McFly's adventure. It catapulted him into a future that audiences still talk about decades later. The year? 2015. The vision? Flying cars, hoverboards, self-lacing sneakers, and a Hill Valley skyline that felt impossibly advanced. At the time, these predictions seemed playful, even outrageous. But peel back the jokes and gimmicks, and you'll find forecasts so accurate they feel almost clairvoyant. Take the film's depiction of video calling. In 1989, seeing someone on a massive flat screen while you spoke to them felt like pure science fiction. Today, it's the backbone of our daily lives. Zoom calls, FaceTime, Teams meetings. We spend hours living in that exact future. The movie even predicted the ubiquity of screens, from wearable tech to multiple channel viewing. Marty's future home shows a wall-sized
full-size display playing multiple programs at once, a comedic exaggeration at the time. Now, it's the norm for households juggling smartphones, tablets, TVs, and VR headsets simultaneously. The film's smart home tech is another eerie hit. Voice-activated appliances, biometric locks, personalized advertising, all played for laughs in 1989, are now standard features of Amazon Alexa, Google Nest, and Apple HomeKit. The fingerprint locks Marty casually uses are now in our smartphones, office doors, and even gym lockers. And those hoverboards? While they don't float yet, companies like Lexus and Hendo have built prototypes, while electric scooters and hover-like boards dominate urban streets worldwide. What makes these predictions feel so uncanny isn't just their accuracy, but how they anticipated cultural behavior. The future Hill Valley depicts a society distracted by screens, addicted to convenience, and living in constant nostalgia for its past. Sound familiar? In many ways, Back to the Future Part 2 predicted not only our technology, but the way we would use it and abuse it. Number 8. Blade Runner, 1982. Few films have defined a genre quite like Blade Runner. Ridley Scott's neon-drenched dystopia didn't just set the gold standard for cyberpunk, it rewrote our collective vision of the future. In 1982, this story of rogue replicants, bioengineered beings indistinguishable from humans, seemed hauntingly far-fetched. Today, its predictions feel less like fantasy and more like an uncomfortable reflection in the mirror. At its core, Blade Runner explored a question we're wrestling with right now. What happens when machines become human enough to feel? Replicas were designed to serve, but longed for autonomy, eerily similar to debates we're having over artificial intelligence and robotics. Modern AI models can compose music, mimic voices, and even express simulated emotions. Engineers are developing synthetic skin, lifelike android faces, and neural networks that can learn human behavior at alarming speeds. Watching Blade Runner now, the line between Deckard's replicants and today's humanoid robots, like those from companies such as Hanson Robotics and Tesla, feels thinner than ever. The film also foresaw our obsession with neon megacities and overwhelming surveillance. Its Los Angeles skyline, crowded with corporate holograms and flying cars, isn't just iconic, it's prophetic. Today, Tokyo, Shanghai, and Dubai boast similar neon-lit skylines, dominated by towering ads and drone displays. Meanwhile, omnipresent surveillance cameras, once a paranoid fantasy, are now standard in nearly every major city, tracking faces, license plates, and behavior patterns. Even its aesthetic predictions proved oddly accurate. Blade Runner wasn't just predicting technology, it was predicting humanity's uneasy relationship with it. Decades later, its haunting vision feels less like a warning and more like a prophecy fulfilled.
Number 7. Tron, 1982. In 1982, Tron was dismissed as a niche oddity, a visually stunning experiment that critics found baffling. Audiences weren't ready for its premise. A man pulled inside a computer, forced to navigate a neon labyrinth of programs and data stream. Now, Tron feels startlingly relevant. It didn't just predict virtual reality, it practically invented the idea. The film's depiction of a fully immersive digital world was decades ahead of its time. Inside Tron, programs were personified, cyberspace was tangible, and identity was split between physical and digital selves. Today, we call this the Metaverse. From Meta's VR social spaces to Roblox and Fortnite's sprawling digital ecosystems, the gamified light cycle battles of Tron look primitive compared to modern esports arenas and VR racing simulators. Tron also foresaw the rise of digital avatars and AI-driven identities. In the film, programs resemble their creators, a subtle hint at how our online personas reflect us today. Social media profiles, VR avatars, and even AI companions now replicate human quirks and preferences. Its neon grids inspired everything from Daft Punk's aesthetics to modern UI design in gaming and software. Silicon Valley visionaries, from VR pioneers to blockchain developers, openly cite Tron as a creative touchstone.
In many ways, it laid the groundwork for how we visualize digital worlds, glowing lines, endless grids, avatars as stand-ins for code. Number 6. The Last Starfighter, 1984. In the mid-80s, video games were exploding. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong. They were addictive, but they were also considered frivolous entertainment. Then came The Last Starfighter, a movie with an idea so outrageous it felt like pure fantasy. What if playing video games could train you to fight real interstellar wars? The story follows Alex Rogan, a teenager stuck in a dead-end trailer park. One night, he beats the high score on an arcade machine, only to discover it's secretly a recruitment test for an alien defense force. Overnight, Alex goes from gaming in his backyard to piloting a real starfighter against an alien armada. Back then, it was wish fulfillment. Today, it's reality. Modern militaries now use video games and VR simulations for recruitment and training. The US Army has an esports team. Drone pilots control real-world weapons with interfaces that look eerily like gaming rigs. Flight simulators, once confined to arcades, are now indistinguishable from military training software. Even NASA uses gamified training programs for astronauts, preparing them for missions to the moon and Mars. When Alex Rogan climbed into that starfighter cockpit, audiences in 1984 gasped at the idea. Today, millions of gamers are essentially doing the same thing every night, only their battleground is Fortnite, and their weapons are digital drones. The movie's fantasy wasn't far-fetched, it was simply ahead of schedule.
Number 5. Looker, 1981. Looker might be one of the most unsettlingly prophetic films of the 1980s, not because of spaceships or aliens, but because of something far scarier: advertising. Written and directed by Michael Crichton, Looker tells the story of models who undergo computerized body scanning so their perfect digital likenesses can star in commercials without them ever stepping in front of a camera. Today, AI-generated influencers and deepfake actors dominate social media. Companies like MetaHuman, Synthesia, and virtual stars like Lil Miquela prove Looker's chilling prediction. But Looker went further, predicting targeted advertising and subliminal persuasion. In the film, ads use flickering light patterns to hypnotize viewers, a direct parallel to today's micro-targeted algorithms that analyze user behavior, predict desires, and manipulate attention on a subconscious level. The movie even imagines data-driven facial perfection, eerily similar to modern AI beauty filters and perfect face algorithms used in social media apps. The most disturbing part? Looker predicted the ethical dilemmas we face right now. Who owns your likeness when it's digitized? In an age where Hollywood actors strike over AI scans of their faces and deepfakes blur truth and fiction, Crichton's vision feels less like sci-fi and more like a warning we failed to heed. Number 4. Max Headroom, 20 minutes into the future. Before Black Mirror terrified us with algorithmic dystopias, there was Max Headroom. Released in 1985, this TV movie introduced the world to the first AI television host, a stuttering, glitchy digital personality named Max Headroom, who existed solely inside a screen. At first glance, Max was a novelty, a cheeky parody of TV culture, but peel back the satire, and Max Headroom was prophetic. It envisioned a future dominated by 24-hour news cycles, corporate-controlled media, and AI-generated personalities, concepts that now define the digital landscape. The show's central fear was media manipulation. Max's world is run by mega corporations that broadcast non-stop content, blurring truth and entertainment. Its stuttering AI persona, once humorous, foreshadows today's synthetic presenters and deepfake anchors deployed by news outlets in China, South Korea, and beyond. Perhaps most chilling is the character's name, Max Headroom, taken from the phrase maximum headroom seen on a barrier in the opening scene. It implies a ceiling, a limit, and today we're asking the same question. What is the maximum headroom for AI in our lives? How far will we let synthetic personalities infiltrate entertainment, education, politics, even our personal relationships? Number 3. Dune. 1984. In the far reaches of space lies Arrakis, a desert planet scorched by twin suns, battered by endless winds, and home to the most valuable substance in the galaxy, the spice melange. It's a resource so powerful it grants visions, fuels interstellar travel, and extends life itself. And it's worth killing for. David Lynch's Dune brought Frank Herbert's legendary 1965 novel to the screen in 1984, in what remains one of the strangest, most ambitious sci-fi films ever made. It was operatic and overwhelming, filled with whispering conspiracies, grotesque villains, and a messiah foretold to rise from the sands. Critics didn't know what to make of it, but time has proven Dune wasn't just ahead of its era, it was predicting ours. Look closely and you'll see our world hiding in its dunes. The great houses of Dune fight for spice just as nations today compete for oil, lithium, and beta, the lifeblood of modern economies and technology. Arrakis's brutal environment echoes our climate anxieties, water wars, ecological collapse, survival on a dying planet. And then there's Dune's most chilling prophecy, the Butlerian Jihad, humanity's ancient war against thinking machines. In Herbert's universe, AI was banned forever, replaced by human mentats trained to think like computers. It's a stark warning as we plunge into our own AI age. Will we embrace the machines or one day rise against them? Number 2. Enemy Mine, 1985. At first glance, Enemy Mine seems like a simple story. Two enemies stranded on a hostile planet forced to work together to survive. But beneath its alien landscapes and thrilling dogfights lies a startlingly prescient vision of cross-species cooperation and the future of human-AI relationships. The film pairs a human fighter pilot with an alien warrior from a rival species. Stripped of their armies and ideologies, they discover common ground, even friendship, in their fight to survive. In 1985, it was a parable about war and peace. As AI becomes embedded in daily life, from medical diagnostics to battlefield drones, the question isn't whether we'll work with intelligent machines, but how we'll coexist with them. Enemy Mine foreshadows this partnership, exploring the tension between mistrust and mutual dependence. Today, humans collaborate with AI systems in everything from surgical robotics to space exploration. NASA's next-generation missions to Mars will rely on AI-driven rovers and autonomous navigation, echoing the teamwork Enemy Mine dramatized decades earlier. Even the film's exploration of cultural misunderstanding feels strikingly modern. The aliens' language, customs, and values force the human pilot to confront his own biases, a theme mirrored in today's AI ethics debates. Can machines truly understand human values? And if not, what happens when misunderstandings turn dangerous? Number 1. Cherry 2000, 1987. In a decade filled with iconic sci-fi blockbusters, Cherry 2000 barely made a blip at the box office. But decades later, this forgotten film feels uncannily like a window today, and that's why it deserves the top spot, even if it ruffles feathers. The movie follows Sam Treadwell, a man living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where relationships had crumbled, intimacy is transactional, and companionship often comes in the form of personalized android partners. When Sam's beloved Cherry 2000 model malfunctions, he ventures into the wilds to find a replacement, a journey that accidentally exposes society's uncomfortable dependence on artificial relationships. Sound familiar? Today, the rise of AI companions, virtual partners, and synthetic intimacy tech is one of the fastest growing and most controversial frontiers in technology. Companies are already selling AI girlfriends, VR relationships, and lifelike robots marketed as companions. Entire communities revolve around digital partners like Replica. What makes Cherry 2000 so provocative isn't just that it predicted this trend, it predicted the emotional fallout. In the film, real human connection feels obsolete. Love has been replaced by contracts and mechanical perfection. It asks a question we're still wrestling with. If technology can fulfill every desire, will we still need each other? Most movie buffs would never rank Cherry 2000 above Blade Runner or Back to the Future. It forces conversation and maybe a little outrage, while shining a light on a forgotten 80s gem that eerily foresaw one of today's most taboo tech revolutions. These forgotten films, dismissed or overlooked in their time, predicted AI companions, virtual realities, flying cars, biometric locks, and the very algorithms that now shape our lives. As we marvel at their foresight, we can't help but wonder, what are today's filmmakers predicting about our future? Will the movies of 2025 feel just as eerily accurate in 2060? This is Vintaverse, where yesterday's visions meet today's reality. If you love this journey into forgotten sci-fi, make sure to subscribe for more untold stories of film history, and let us know in the comments, which 80s movie prediction do you think came truest?